Hello, everyone, and welcome to State of the Realm. For those of you watching us live, apologies for the late start. Sly, you already know he's here because he's part of the show. Sly, why don't you tell him what happened?
Yeah, so while Mike was trying to call me, I was on the phone with Spectrum because my net had gone out. I'd already told Mike earlier today, like, Mike, he messaged me, "Are you good for today?" I'm like, "Yeah." Shortly before, show was actually supposed to start, net goes out. I'm, of course, freaking out because I'm supposed to be on the show. I call Spectrum. I'm on the phone with Spectrum, and your ISP likes to do the whole ISP thing. Turn it off and on again. Did you do this? Did you do that? Restart your PC. Go call your mom. Kiss her for me. All that shit. And then, long story short, while I'm on the phone with Spectrum, I get a knock at the door. I'm like, okay, knowing me even more. It is a Spectrum technician. They told me they couldn't get a technician out until Saturday. Lo and behold, the technician knocks on my door. "Are you having problems with your internet?" I'm like, "Are you trying to sell me something?" But yes, I do have problems with my internet right now. "Yeah, sorry about that. We were working on your neighbor's line and we might have messed up your line. Yours should be back up any minute now. Can you go and check?" I'm like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me." But lo and behold, yeah, it was indeed back up. Thank God. So yeah, the whole time I was on the phone, I was a bit pissy. And I'm like, I know they're not watching. I think it'd be really odd if they were, but to the Spectrum representative, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry I was a bit pissy.
Don't worry, I've been there before too. I remember when I had problems for like months on end, and I was like, okay, before I start telling you what's going on, I apologize because I will sound short with you. It is, you've done nothing wrong, and I acknowledge that, but I'm warning you. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. It's going to be that way, and there's nothing you can do to change that unless you can somehow fix the entire thing on your own.
Yeah, unless this shit can get fixed in like the next 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm sorry. Mm-mm.
I will be a lesser person for the next however long this phone call is. Oh, man. All right, but we do have a show.
We do.
We are doing our Dawntrail first impressions. Now, obviously, there's a bit of a concern in regards to spoilers, so we're going to very clearly lay out what will and will not be discussed on this show. First and foremost, any jobs we have experience with or job-related discussions will be present. Obviously, Sly and I are not experts on every role, so we're not going to dictate you on to what tank or healer you should be playing necessarily, but we do have some idea of how they are doing at the moment. We will also be talking about our experiences with the overworld, the music, the dungeons, but we will be leaving out the names of specifically the final MSQ dungeon, the second extreme trial, specifically who the boss is there, and the final MSQ trial. We will also not be naming the final zone, as it is the one zone that was not part of any of the promotional material. Now, keep in mind that the first trial was part of a lot of promotional material over the last year. And thus, we have no problem saying...
Free reign.
Yeah, they're in the trailer. They were part of the first fan festival that last July.
To be fair, Square does this thing where one of the promotional materials happens to end up being in one of the later dungeons.
Yeah.
They've done, this is in a thing twice in a row.
Well, not really. In Endwalker, the two they showed were the part of 81 and 83. Those are the two main threats they showed. And then in Shadowbringers, it was both. Every Shadowbringers and before is always both the trials that we saw.
Yeah. So this was kind of like along those lines, but yeah. One of the promotional materials happened to be in one of the last dungeons.
Yeah.
The last dungeon that you do.
Which obviously we won't be talking about either.
No.
Yeah. So there's a particular threat that if you haven't watched a bunch of stuff, then listen, anyone who didn't know who the first trial was doesn't even know what we're talking about right now. There's no way you could, because how could you miss one and see the other? So yeah, we'll be all right with that one. But first of all, thanks to our sponsors over on Patreon for supporting. Nobody has to support. They choose to. All of our content's available for free on YouTube and podcast formats. Some people download it off SoundCloud. Some people listen to it on Spotify. They got all sorts of options. But thank you to them. We appreciate it. Dude, I'm just looking at my camera. Bro, I got 2 zits on my forehead in the past like few days, and it's I'm just looking at myself like, bro, I look like I'm trying to grow horns, and I hate it.
You're fine.
Look, I'm just like, somebody brought it up in chat. I was just like, ugh. See, it's like I'm trying to grow horns right now. So Dawntrail, TLDR from my thoughts, off to an incredible start. Significantly improved over both Endwalker's start and Shadowbringer's start, and definitely over Stormblood's start.
Oh god, yes.
So how has your early access been? What was your game plan? How did it all play out?
Well, my game plan was as follows. Dragoon on MSQ, do MSQ, not really as fast as possible, but not like, not Mrhappy fast as possible. So I of course, watched every cutscene, read, all the MSQ dialogue, because there was a lot of dialogue to read. Between spoken dialogue and, dialogue that you have to read, there was a lot of dialogue you had to read. So there's that. Goon, 100. Already got to 100. I got through MSQ. And now, and because of certain things that happened, aka, I was on front page for my birthday. By the way, my birthday happened. I'm 40 now.
Happy 40.
You.
That was on Wednesday. Funny thing about that,
I
I told Sly this. Wednesday, I was like, it's Sly's birthday today, July 3rd. I'm so happy for him. I woke up the next day and was like, wait, it's July 4th? Like, I had completely dissociated the linear passage of time and prioritized Sly's birthday in my brain over July 4th being on the Thursday. Felt like throwing that in there. So what was next?
So because I was on the front page, it would be a bad idea to kind of do anything spoilery for 18,000 people. So I just, hit rocks and punch trees for a good amount of Wednesday, kind of keep it as spoiler free as possible. And, now that I'm done with, MSQ, I'm working on my lev kits for my crafter. So I've been doing a bunch of gathering. So that's where I'm at right now.
Nice. I saw you're going to be really mad about what I'm typing right now.
What?
So Sam Casual, he tweeted posting screenshots of your warrior of be like, and it's a picture that says happy chemicals. And yes, I'm doing exactly what you think. I have to do it while it's fresh. I'd say, what are you doing with my chemicals?
Oh my God.
What are you doing with my chemicals? Listen.
Even outside of the show, he can't help himself.
Alex says happy birthday, by the way. Good to see you, Alex.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much.
That's actually, it's funny because the music is the one thing I've been humming the battle theme for the past week. So funny because that was exactly what was on my mind, especially because I'm doing Fates right now, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah, for me, I cosplayed as a Viper for early access day, courtesy of, in Twitch chat, it's !cosplay for Annie's social. She's the one who made it from scratch. She did a fantastic job. It was comfortable to stream in for that entire thing, which was shocking because I streamed for 23 hours straight that day.
Yeah, you went a little ham. I did. I made my PSA before early access. I told people, get some rest. Do human things. Nah, not this man. He's not human.
I did Viper 80 to 90 in the first few hours. We actually got an hour late start because somebody got caught in the login queue. So we didn't really start that right away, but I was still level 90 by I think 7 a.m. Pacific. servers. Oh, no, 8 a.m. Pacific. And then I skip through the MSQ. I always skip MSQ on expansion launch and then do it later so I can get to extreme trials, make guides, all the content for like relevant like combat stuff. And I was level 100 by I think like 6 p.m. Pacific, approximately on Viper.
Jesus.
And then I beat the first extreme trial and then got like halfway through the second, and then I went to bed.
One thing I do want to bring up, especially in regards to Dawntrail, is and this, I'm assuming this is going to be the same for a lot of people, everybody, if anything. Now, if you were really, really prepared, you had a Wondrous Tales prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were like me, you probably did a second Wondrous Tales right after you turned in that first one. So those were like 2 levels right there, essentially.
Yeah.
So essentially, I was ahead of the curve the entire way of MSQ. And a lot of you, I mean, even if you weren't, leveling was pretty quick in Dawntrail.
No, keep talking. What were you saying, Sly?
Leveling quick? I was just saying leveling for anybody was quick.
Yeah.
Should have been.
Yeah, it was. It definitely felt like the MSQ treated you with a decent amount of respect in regards to the amount of EXP you needed. To be clear, I burned through all of my rested on Viper from 80 to 90 doing dungeons. I didn't do bows. Yeah, I had a pre-made dungeon group. And I was ahead of the MSQ by about 2 levels almost the entire time. So to be fair, I did have I did have a Wondrous Tales in there. I had somebody in my chat was complaining about leveling roulette queue time. And so I was like, I wonder how long it is for me. And I got an instant queue. And if you back out of a leveling roulette instant queue, I'm pretty sure they lock you for 30 minutes. I know if you leave, they lock you for 30. But I think if you leave like the queue itself, also if you get in, that it's 30. So I was literally right before the 93 dungeon. So I was like, well, I can't fucking back out or I'm screwed. So I had to do it. And funny thing is, I got the level 91 dungeon. So it worked out just fine. And I didn't do a single side quest. I did some sightseeing logs, a few fates here or there as well. And yeah, I was way.
Now, when you say side quest, do you mean did you do the
I did the Ether Current
quest?
Yeah, obviously I did.
Yeah.
But aloha, you gotta go, pal. It's over here. Chat, stop looking at my ass. I'm trying to get him off. All right, here we go. I'm trying to get him off my shirt.
Now, mind you, I did take. It wasn't really a day off, but it was still content anyway. Yeah. There was a day I took to make tacos because
that's content.
That's content. Because I wanted to make tacos. Plus, like the recipes, they're on the Tour to Raw website. I didn't have to use them shits. Fuck that. I make my own goddamn tacos. So yeah, I made al pastor and carne asada on the smoker. If you didn't see that, it came out. Chef's kiss. And this. Well, it's not in a pineapple. This is a Tuliolol Sunrise. You absolutely should make these if you have any mezcal and pineapple juice and maraschino cherries, lime juice. Absolutely make these. Just double the mezcal amount.
There you go. Yeah, of course, Sly wants to double the mezcal. That's no surprise, right?
No, because like it's so soft. Like it's too little mezcal. Like when you double it, you can actually taste the smoke. So
all right,
that's the only change I'll make.
All right. I'll take your word for it. I'm not much of a mezcal. I'm not much of a tequila person in general. I mean, I have been, but I've sorely regretted it immediately afterwards. Don't listen. All I have to say is that the few times I've had tequila, it's involved a plastic fireman's hat and an outside deck. All right, that's it.
Yo. Hey, yo.
It's way worse of a situation than it sounds like on paper. Way worse of a situation than it sounds like on paper. All right. So I leveled Viper first. I have done all 3 of the Fizz ranged, and my Astro is at 99.5. I'm half a level from 100. So moving through on the leveling, still have Picto, still have a few other things. But since we're talking about the jobs we leveled, how did you feel about Dragoon going from 90 to 100? Dumbed down, fun, improved? Where were you at mentally?
Weird.
Weird?
It's going, and I told everybody, it's going to be a little bit weird. It, like, at 100, with everything in your kit, you'll get rid of the weirdness quickly, but at the same time, opener is still busy. It's still busy. I'd say it's probably even busier than, you know, the one opener where we had all the OG CDs. You take away a few, great, but we're still hella busy.
Well, you can cram all the Nastrons in immediately now, so you
can, but you don't want to, but you can. Being without Dragon Sight makes me feel like Ricky Bobby, where he's like, I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Obscure movie reference, I like it.
Yeah. And the fact that like and I was looking at, again, I re-look at the traits and everything. I'm like, we don't have anything to get rid of besides True North. Sight was our one thing that like let us scumbag positionals. We don't have that anymore.
Well, they took away one of your positionals. Was that you do 3 positionals every 10 GCDs instead of 5 positions every 10 GCDs because of Drake Spain.
Right.
What level is Drake Spain? Isn't it like 60 something? Is it? It's not. It's pre 90.
Yeah. It's pre 90, so you automatically get it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I couldn't remember. But you think you'll feel okay going into it? You think that everything else just is kind of work itself out?
Into like EXs? Yeah. It feels like once you get used to it, it kind of feels nice. It feels nice. Again, with the opener, it's like everything's like boom, 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 boom. And it almost feels like Ninja or Viper and its busyness. Because you'll talk about that. Because the one thing about the opener is like, you know, you do your jump and you're trying to squeeze everything in that you possibly can, OGCD wise, and then your Mirage Dive. Like, I feel like if you fuck everything up, you're gonna miss your Mirage Dive, which isn't really bad, like that much in hindsight. But at the same time, I feel like shit if I do miss my Mirage Dive. It's like, okay, I did all this. Fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't get my Mirage Dive. Yeah. So it's like, I kind of want them like for the opener, I kind of want to fit like Mirage Dive sooner, so I just don't miss it, and everything else can kind of fit in where it can fit in. But yeah, it's still outside of opener, it's fun. It's really fun. I like the way it flows. I like the way everything feels. It feels good. It's really
good. I'm glad. Viper, it's funny you called it busy because I actually think it's the least busy in its opener versus the maintenance of playing it. Mm-hmm. So in your opener, you really just prep. You do your first 2 combo GCDs, and then you do Dreadwinder into the OGCDs, the GCDs and OGCDs from that. Then you reawaken, finish the combo, and it's just kind of like you just kind of go from there. All the busy work that Viper has is in what you're not doing during burst. And it's not busy. Yeah. Busy is almost the wrong word. It's just you have positionals. You have a lot of OGCDs that you're using very frequently. So like it is by all measures busy, but it's when it's not normally busy. It's why I think a lot of people kind of took to it very quickly when the servers came live, because people often complain about the time between your burst being boring. Like I think of Ninja between burst. I think of Dragoon between burst. Yeah. You know, that's normally the most boring time for every job. But like everyone's 2 minutes are normally super busy, and Vipers aren't. Viper's 2-minute buff is not busy at all. Like, yeah, there's buttons to press, but it's not like Dragoon where I'm fucking piano keyboarding all over it, or Ninja where I'm like trying to roll through like 17 different things. It's just like one.
Yeah, and even with fights, and even when I think about like past fights, it's like, yeah, there's our 2 minutes which are busy, and then there's the fights which are adding like mechanics, like I don't know, P12 where you have to do what was it? Phase 1.
Super chain?
Yeah, super chain.
Yeah.
You're doing super chain amidst your 2 minutes, and it's like you're flying a plane and you're trying to take care of kids at the same time. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to be in Dawntrail. It probably will be the same thing when they try to stick a lot of busy work on top of the busy work of your 2 minutes. We'll see, but yeah.
Yeah. However, I guess I don't have to give a shit because they're already changing Viper.
Yeah, I read the changes. Like, okay. Again, I kind of agree with you with the maintenance, but not the opener.
There is one thing that it seems like they're doing for the opener that I kind of appreciate. It's not just the opener, it's reaway. For anyone who hasn't read the post, Viper's getting some of its positionals pruned. I assume those are the Dreadwinder positionals and not Flank Strike and Hind Strike, because that would be very, very weird if Flank Strike and Hind Strike were no longer Flank Strike and Hind Strike. Yeah, Sly? What's the thought? Get it out.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, I feel like it would be way too late for them to do anything about it, but do you think they take away positionals in the, like, every positional?
No, there's not going to get rid of every Viper, but there's no way.
No, for everyone. Like,
I mean, I thought that was going to happen going into Endwalker, but going into Dawntrail, but it didn't. That was like on my bingo board of Dawntrail predictions, but like, it's like the only positionals I can imagine them getting rid of is Dreadwinder, and I think those are, funnily enough, the least important ones to remove. I think people more so struggle to remember Flank Strike and Hind Strike. Like, green is flank, red is rear. I can't do that, so I just have to remember the icons, of course, because, screw me, right? Red, green, funny guys. Anyway, so Dreadwinders, I assume, but the other thing is giving them a bit more range on certain attacks. I assume that's Reawaken, because Reawaken's range is quite small, and it's frustrating when you're trying to use it during certain times, certain mechanics.
Hold on. But everything in Reawaken is AoE, correct?
It is. It's very small, though. Very, very small. Smaller than most AoEs would be. Like, when you're AoEing, I miss mobs in AoE packs with Reawaken all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I have to, like, very deliberately make sure it's one in the very center of the entire pack. Or if I, like, go, like, little to the left, no. It's not going to hit them all. So that's something that's kind of nice. But the big thing about Viper is Viper doesn't have a 2-minute window, like a distinct 2-minute window. Like, it does. Like, obviously there's a mathematical best doing a 2-minute window. But it's no different than you're just doing 2 Reawakens back to back. There's, like, your rotation is literally the same for the entire fight. It's just you do 2 Reawakens when 2 minutes are up. And you have to make sure your buff duration, your debuff and buff duration is long enough, which is also really easy to do. So it's not like Dragoon where I'm like, oh, I need to, like, my Dragonfire dive and the follow-up and my life window all at the same time. It's like, no, dude, I'm literally just pressing Reawakened, and it's the same thing I've been doing for the past 2 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
Which is why people like it, because it doesn't feel like, it just feels like you're playing the job, like, correctly the entire time.
And really quick, that's another thing with our 2 minutes. I'm kind of glad that, jump isn't kind of dependent on that. I kind of want to throw my jump in my 2 minutes too, but we don't have to, like, jump to build eyes or anything like that. You just, your jumps pretty much are kind of like your ping timer for, your individual 1 minute. But
yeah. And honestly, that's been weird for me because Viper has that, but only really when it's 2 minutes. Like, Dreadwinder is kind of supposed to be that, but it doesn't really feel that way. So your buff that gives you one free Uncoiled Fury and one free Reawaken, that's how you have to track everything. Like that singular thing. Like even like when I think of another pure DPS like Samurai, I think of Black Mage with like ley lines. I think of like very clear skill indicators of when 2 minutes are happening within their own kit. Vipers is very like, I know this is a once every 2 minute, but because there's no distinct 2 minute window that isn't just using Reawaken a couple of times, which is its own kind of, again, I still feel like the job's identity is not rooted in its aesthetic. It's now rooted in its gameplay, and that's probably about to change. So that's a little concerning.
But what about the names? We talked about that like beforehand and media tour and stuff like and talk about the aesthetic, but the names.
The names are stupid. I don't know a single skill name. Like I know Dreadwinder and Reawaken, and then like Flank Strike, Hind Strike. Like the names of the skills are absolutely
they're
meaningless to me. They're absolutely. Okay. It's just a mess of skills that I don't have to give a shit about. I call them haste buff and damage buff.
You just like Raiders just rename shit just for shit.
But
like, haste buff.
It's funny because everyone who tells me they're trying to read the skills to figure out how the job works, I just tell them stop reading the skills. It's gonna make it worse. Just keep your buffs up. Make sure to use Reawaken once during your opener, twice during reopeners, and just literally don't read anything. Like, I've never recommended. I'm like, this is why NA loves this job, because it's better if you don't read.
Oh, yeah, and there's one more small thing about Dragoon that I forgot to say that I absolutely fucking hate. We got rid of Spine Shatter. Okay, great. That was another, OGCD that we pressed when it did damage. Great. What we have now is Winged Glide. I fucking hate the delay after Winged Glide.
So, it's funny? I was thinking the same thing about Slither for Viper. Viper has this really weird, like, Slither is really slow feeling. Ironic, given I'm a snake, but, it doesn't feel good, Slither. Especially as a monk player. Like, you know what the life I've lived doing gap closers the past few years? You know how good those feel? Slither feels like nothing compared to that.
And Spine Shatter felt better. Like you would just Spine Shatter and you just keep on going. Winged Glide, you just go in, pause for a second, and then keep hitting the boss. I'm like, yeah, if we have to get rid of Spine Shatter for this shit, just bring Spine Shatter back and let it not do any damage.
The chat says the tank ones are the same way. All the new ones are like have this weird like stop and start animation delay. Yeah. Which is funny because Slide, the first thing I did when I logged in, you know what I checked? Pots.
Potions.
And I was like, holy! I can double weave pots now. I've waited a decade for this.
What died for that? No.
Apparently 4 gap closers died for that.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm a little concerned about Viper changes so quick. They seem like knee-jerk reaction things that aren't. I haven't seen the opinion about them shared in very many places, so I'm a little concerned. Because I don't think Viper very much falls into the line of I see the appeal. It's clearly not entirely for me, but like I feel like they should leave it and make like adjust other types of adjustments. Like I think the range adjustment's probably a good one for Reawaken. But I don't think they needed to make. But I'm also give me all 6 of my monk positionals back. Oh man, monk. Oh my god, monk is a mess.
Tell me about it.
Slide. So from Media Tour, they made it so that Dragon Kick was useless. Like the potency was so bad, you never Dragon Kicked. Slide, they changed it. You only Dragon Kick and Leaping Oppo now. You never do the other 4 GCDs. That's why it's in the job adjustment things with them getting the potencies wrong. You literally just ignore your stance and go Dragon Kick, Leaping Oppo, Dragon Kick, Leaping Oppo, and it's the highest potency that you can deal. It's so bad, Sly. Not only do you do a double lunar opener, it used to be double solar because you had buff maintenance. Now it's double lunar because you don't have buff maintenance. Not only is it double lunar, but Phantom Rush is considered, and I quote, optional. What I mean by that is at your 1 minute buff, you can choose to do the light Nadi, the solar Nadi, if you want to, but you don't have to. Like, it's like neutral in a sense to do it. It's like just so you can pretend like it matters. That's how much the potency's messed up on Monk. So that's why they're in the, and that better be in 0.01. That better not be a 0.05 change. It's really bad. The monk adjustments. I think when it's fixed, it'll be fine. Like if you ignore that and play Monk now, it's really just more of breaking habits. And you're like, yeah, okay, it's a little weird doing it differently, but okay, I can get used to it. But as soon as you know about the curse tech, you're like, oh, oh, come on now, really? How did you do that? Oh, man. I haven't heard anything bad about Ninja. Samurai, they're already adjusting the one complaint I heard about, so that's good. That was on the Tendo skills. I remember. There's also just the Tendo skills. There's one other complaint about, I think, Tsubame, that it was tied to Mekio. I'm not sure how that's panned out since, but I've seen a lot of Samurais kind of doing okay. Reaper is apparently doing fantastic. Apparently, really? Reaper is myrtleating. So they're eating really, really good right now. So that was kind of a surprise. But we thought that last expansion, and we saw what happened, how everyone perceived it by the end. So we'll see how it actually works out. I've of course leveled the Fizz ranged. Dancer, I'm subsequently really impressed with what they did to make it feel better. I think Last Dance being at different buttons a little awkward. I get why it is, but other than that, Dancer feels a lot better. But they made one mistake, Sly.
What's that?
Talana. So Talana gives you 50 gauge now. So it guarantees that you have enough for a Dance of the Dawn or a Dawn of the Dance or a Saber Dance, depending on your level. Why does it give 50 gauge and not just a free use like every other skill that used to give 50 gauge in every other job it got changed? And you can tell that Dancer was like a last second change. Like they were just like, oh yeah, just make it give 50 gauge. And then they didn't like think about like making it a buff of some kind. So the fear of overcapping with Talana during tech step is quite real. So you have to be a little careful. It's not that big a deal. You just have to be careful because you don't know when tech step's going to feed you 60 gauge all at once.
Yeah.
They also flip tech step and Talana's recast. After tech step, you have 1.5 seconds now. And after Talana, you have 2.5 seconds.
2.5. Yeah.
Yeah. They flipped it around. But I still think they did a really good job. RNG mitigation is much better now. So other than the feathers, you feel good during your burst. Bard is Bard. Bard actually got some of the same, a little bit of RNG mitigation during their buff window. You don't get as many refulgent arrows, so you don't have to worry about the proc kind of interrupting barrage use nearly as much. And you just use less burst shots, but otherwise it feels nearly identical. The song timings did change for optimal play, though. You have a choice now. It's what's called 3-3-12, which is minuet, ballad, paean. So it's, that's when you swap songs with that duration left. Or you do, as I like to call it, the 3-6-9 damn she fine timer. You literally can't say 3-6-9 without somebody saying damn she fine. And you know what? If Bard is really bad by the end of the expansion, Get Low is realistically going to be, it's going to hit a little too close to home. If it's bad by the end of the expansion or at any point, it's going to be really bad meme-wise.
Our Bard's turning into Lil Jon. Oh my God.
They're getting crunk. That's it. They're just getting crunk. Just a little crunk, though.
Yo, I'm over on Bard now, Lil Jon.
Yeah, there you go. But otherwise, it's fine. And Machinist is so much fun on bosses and still sucks so much on Trash. I hate it on Trash so much.
Oh, no.
I literally do Machinist AoE rotation wrong on purpose in Trash. Because on 4 or less targets...
We just had this talk.
Yeah. On 4 or less targets, it's better to do Blazing Shot instead of auto crossbow because you get the resets on double check and checkmate. On 5 or more, it's auto crossbow. I just say, nah, I'm only using Blazing Shot. It's more fun.
Yeah, we gotta ask Saren how he feels. He feels about machinists.
Don't flamethrower in front of Saren. Just don't do it. Don't walk up to him and just do a flamethrower animation. Whatever you do, don't ever do that to Saren.
That's what everybody's gonna do now. You already just told the strat and just how to annoy Saren. Like, yeah, but don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's just send him a video and it's just machinist flamethrowering and nothing else. But as Chad says, the dopamine hit of double check and checkmate supersedes my knowledge of what is optimal on the job.
Yeah.
So, but I actually think all three Fizz range, okay, machinist needs a number buff. It's lower than the other two right now, which is unacceptable.
Really?
Yes, it is unacceptable. However, these are, of course, early numbers. So it is what it is. And then Astro is the only other job, and I'm really enjoying Astro.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's there's some things that need changing. They're already changing one of them. I think there's one other thing they should probably adjust. They're making light speed multiple charges and changing its cooldown. So realistically, it's probably a 60-second cooldown with 2 charges. And that's just to make their buff window better because it's 90 seconds right now, and that's toxic. Yeah. I think the other thing they need to do is make draw 55 seconds instead of 60. Because right now, if you are not perfect, like you absolutely land on the off global to use draw and don't clip it at all, it just gradually drifts. So you're forced to drift slightly every single time. So I think draw being 55 seconds would help with that a great deal. They do those two things, and I think Astro's looking real strong. Really, really strong. The healers in my group are also like, yeah, almost certainly Astro is one of our healers.
What about the other healers? How are you feeling about like white? Well, when I'm gonna level, how are we feeling about white mage?
So the assessment is white mage is fine, but it's the same fine it's been for a long time, which is just like if you're a white mage main, go ahead, do you, boo boo. But like Astro just brings so much more. What?
You stole my words, do you? I usually say that, do you? Boo-boo.
I know, that's why I said it. Yeah. I've also said it before without you, but now it's topical. But white mage with the dash is great. White mages are really enjoying having a movement skill now. But otherwise it feels like it's kind of in the same spot where Astro is just so goated that it's hard to like, it's like there's 3 healer roles. There's shield, there's Astro, and then there's white mage. Like there's 3 roles, not 2 of them.
I hate you so much for that.
It's not shield and pure. It's shield and Astro and white mage. I'm telling you, there's 3 different ones. That's just how it is. If not roles, then tiers. Because both the shield healers seem to be doing well.
Fine. Yeah, they're absolutely thriving. Yeah, I can agree on that. And
tanks.
Gunbreaker
number 1 by far. Warrior next. And then,
I've seen that.
Yeah, Warrior and Paladin kind of similar-ish, but Warriors just has, home gang being 4 minutes is always going to be a big thing. Shake is always going to be a big thing. Not to mention big fucking axe. And then Dark Knight's kind of chilling at the bottom. Fun to play, more fun to play than it was, but just not bringing the same heat that everything else is. And Gunbreaker is just bringing so much heat. Like Gunbreaker, I said it, Gunbreaker having Thrill of Battle on their 40% mitigation was always going to be popular. But because of Lionheart, some of the things that were rigid about it before level 100 aren't rigid at level 100. So it ends up just feeling better, performing better, just overall better. And then the casters.
That's fair.
Pictomancer's the only one worth talking about right now.
Really, it is, because that's all you see. That's all you see everywhere you go.
The other day. I don't know why, but I saw one. Maybe they leveled Scholar first and they just wanted to change it up. Who knows?
Yeah, I can definitely say for a fact that every dungeon I did, there was a Picto.
That's expected, though, at the start of the expansion. What wasn't expected was them being better than every other job in the game by a wide margin.
Yeah, that wasn't expected at all. Holy shit.
Yeah. That's a problem. Black mages not having a good time. Summoners, they knew what they signed up for. I can't show pity to them anymore. And red mage does have one mild problem with manification. They've already suggested, or they've already said they're fixing it. I had a red mage explain to me the manification change today, so I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So, Black mage looking for changes to Thunder, looking for changes to Umbral Soul, and looking for changes and looking for the other 8% of damage that it is behind Pictomance.
Wow.
Yeah. That seems to be the big thing. Umbral Soul and Thunder changes are the two things I'm definitely seeing the most of for Black Mage discussion at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I guess sort of just mana change in general to Ice so that maybe the Umbral Soul problem wouldn't exist to begin with for lower than level 76, but that's another thing to adjust altogether. So,
yeah.
But for all the things that have gone wrong with the jobs, everything else has kind of been exceptional, it feels.
Yeah.
First of all, the game working for most of us.
Yeah. Let's talk about the experience of, first of all, early access. There really haven't been a lot of memes that come out of early access. I mean, other than, there is no healer strike. Whoever told you there is one, there isn't. It doesn't exist.
Sly, all of my roulettes have been tanking need. Except for one. One time it was healer in need.
Yeah. Other than that, everything has been pretty smooth this release. I've only had to wait maybe 30 minutes once. Other than that, it's been smooth as shit.
Yeah, there was definitely a few issues here or there for general use. I know we had a mass DC and I got stuck in a 4,000 queue. It only took me 40 minutes to get through, so that was a positive. Yeah. And then there's trying to log in during peak times on busy servers was like 3 to 4 hours. Still, not like 21,000 queue like Endwalker, but still quite the long experience if you're someone who is trying to come home from work. And I guess it was the weekend, so not really come home from work, but like just later in the day play. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, the people who got screwed the most were Xbox players. They had it's been acknowledged by the dev team. They had an issue where whenever they changed zones, there was like a 50-50 chance they would crash. Yeah. They're getting 10 days free playtime to make up for it. Everybody's getting 2 days, but they're getting 10 total. 8 specifically for them and 2 as part of the deal for everyone else.
Goddamn Phil.
Yeah. It's wasn't great for them. So that is the big blemish in terms of being able to access the game was the Xbox players getting screwed. The other blemish was everyone's Alliance Raid roulettes being ruined if they got Circus Tower. Which is the funniest on-release glitch I've ever heard of. So,
I remember. Oh God, I was like, wait, what happened? I remember hearing this.
Yeah. So for those who missed it, Amon in the Circus Tower was one of about 3 or 4 bosses, I think, that had a glitch where his ice spell was replaced with Shiva's. So Shiva's ice spell just freezes you, and that's it. You're frozen. It does not create an ice block. And you know what you need to survive Curtain Call? An ice block. So the only groups that were able to do it were either like killing a bunch of people and then rezzing them. Like they would have to take the res as Curtain Call is going out to make sure that they could get up after it. Or everyone had to hold 2 minutes until about the 30% mark and then blast him to death. So that was funny. That bug affected a few other things. It affected DSR. Cauterize in phase 6 was broken for the same reason. And a few other things as well. Scylla. Oh, yeah, Scylla was broken a little. Scylla's wasn't as bad, though. Scylla's, I don't think you could break people out with the fire orbs, maybe. Might have been the problem, but also Circus Tower. But yeah, it was that was honestly one of the biggest like publicly spoken about messes in terms of like launch, other than some login queues here or there.
Yeah.
So overall, I'd say success. They've said that because of the stability, they have now broken their concurrent player count for the game in the first time in 10 years, in over 10 years.
Let's go.
Yeah, and in case anyone's wondering how that's possible for Dawntrail, because obviously everyone thought Dawntrail would be a bit more tame than Endwalker. We're talking about concurrent. So a couple things to note. One, Heaven's Ward didn't have as many concurrences as A Realm Reborn. It was the first expansion. A few years had gone by. Pre-order rate was about the same as A Realm Reborn's like average concurrent. I think they did like a few 100,000 pre-orders for Heaven's Ward. Stormblood was a disaster. So even if it was more pre-ordered, it would have never had the concurrent login record. Shadowbringers, the game still wasn't quite popping off yet, and Endwalker was such a disastrous server-wide launch, they could have never had the concurrent numbers. So you can't really have concurrent numbers if nobody can play the game. So because Dawntrail had a relatively stable server, they broke those records.
Yeah.
So, and Dawntrail was also the highest pre-ordered expansion thus far, which is also no surprise. So that's another fun little detail as well. And much deserved, because I haven't done the story yet. I'm starting it tomorrow. So I can only speak on, obviously we wouldn't talk about the story anyway, but
no.
Environment, zones, love them. Big fan.
Yes.
Big fan. I don't know what else to say, because that's it. That's all I really want to say about the zones. Because
I would love to say a lot, but I can't.
There's a lot of like story related stuff that even though I skipped, I can tell that's like it's very specific to certain parts of the map, especially it's like a point like kind of early-ish where the map is a little more exciting to run around as you're doing a part of the MSQ.
Okay, well, let's speak on the locations themselves.
Okay.
And one thing about, I'd say, the first three, because they were the only ones to do that,
So to be clear to everyone, that's Urkopacha, that's Yaktel, and that is Kazama-Uka.
Yeah. So the first three, they kind of did the whole thing of splitting, north and south. Like you had one, like when you reached it for the first time, you were probably in the north, and then, you were kind of cut off to because of story from the south. You would get there eventually, but yeah, like that still somewhat annoyed me. So when getting to the later zones, and them being completely wide open, with the exception of one, getting to the later zones and them being wide open, felt refreshing. I was like, because what I like to do when I get to a zone first is do my Aether Currents.
Are you a get it out of the way and don't wait for the MSQ to take you there kind of person?
Right. Okay. So when MSQ is like, yeah, I'm going to go here. Why don't you meet me at the Aetherite? I'll go to the Aetherite and tune it, and then I'm going to, fuck off and get the Aether Currents I can, and then come back and resume the story. That's what I did.
That's fair. Yeah, I can understand that. I will say one of my favorite things was the fact that the north and south side of the zones were essentially unlocked ultra quick. They didn't normally they stretch it out to like the high levels, like in this case would have been 97, 98. Like that's when sometimes you end up finishing zones. I was kind of glad they didn't do that for once. It's not a really important shakeup, but I like that. Yeah. Sometimes even the small things when they break it up and do it a little different, I can appreciate it. The only thing that was a little weird about a lot of these zones, and Yaktel in particular, the verticality of it was a little confusing.
Yes, I'm glad you were not the only one who realized that. Like verticality. Okay, there's one thing about verticality where I think, in all honesty, what was it? It wasn't Heaven's Ward. Was it Heaven's Ward?
Heaven's Ward was big on verticality. Yeah, like
Heaven's Ward was really confusing in terms of verticality. So when you have like a map that's huge, but it's huge in scale and huge in terms of like, your verticality, that can kind of trip you up. These maps weren't really big on verticality. And I was kind of glad on that. I was kind of glad for that because like that could have been really confusing. And the little bits that had a little bit of verticality were slightly confusing. But again, it wasn't a huge thing like Heaven's Ward. You know, because like most of everything was all on one
fucking ether current and Stormblood. I'll never forgive them for that.
Yeah, and see, again, the Aether Currents weren't that egregious. No. Like they were really in places you could find, and I'm so glad about that. You didn't have to go through hell and half of Georgia for one Aether Current. If you did, it was probably in a southern region that was blocked from blocked because of MSQ. You'd eventually get there, so you didn't have to worry about that.
I got one.
That was the only thing that annoyed me.
One Aether Current to complain about, Sly, and it's Yaktel. It was the one right as you're going to the lower part of the map, and you're going down a ramp to get to the lower part of the map, but it's at the top.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'll go this. Oh, it's probably on the southern side of the map, so I'll go through here and then go. And then I got to the other side, and I'm like, come on, really?
Yeah.
That's the only one that got me this expansion. Wasn't that bad. Except for one thing, there was no quick way back to that part of the map. Like your best bet was to get to the next Aetherite and go back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing. Okay. Yaktel is really annoying in that the Aetherites in Yaktel were pretty spread out.
Yeah.
So like you are pretty much outside of like the two. You are pretty much spread out in no man's land, and you just have to like, if you really want to get anywhere, like you are either at the ass end of the map, or you're closer to one of the Aetherites. There's no in between.
Yeah. One of those maps you're just like, oh, well, you don't have flying. Definitely.
Yeah, when you don't have flying.
Yeah. Even when you have flying, kind of a little bit, but it's like it's one of those. I really want to pick up the riding map, but that would mean staying here longer during the MSQ. And you're just like, if I just truck through the MSQ, I won't. It's whatever. I won't have to worry about the riding map.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was and it was rough because the fates were even. I would see a fate all the way on the east side where there's no Aetherite, and then I would be halfway to it, and I'd see one back by the Aetherite, and it'd be like.
I'm really looking forward to fate farming. I'm so looking forward to fate farming.
Fate farming, the only zones, the final zone, which again we're leaving unnamed, and Yaktel were the two that were not for me. All the other ones, it was fine. Those two, nah. Yeah. Nah, I'm good. I'm glad I'm done with those zones. I don't even dislike the zones, but specifically that one interaction with it, with the Aetherite. Yeah, I'm going to go over to Shelani, which is a flat plane with no verticality whatsoever, except for one tiny thing.
One other thing I want to talk about. In terms of the game, in terms of the locales, are these fucking names. Chat, I would like to challenge you. To either A, remembering the lyrics of Lifestyle, you know, man, like shit, just now, you know that song, word for word, mind you, word for word, or say half of the names in the zone, pronounce them correctly. Lifestyle looking good, huh? Yeah.
Yeah,
I couldn't pronounce half of them names. I honestly couldn't.
Yeah, I'm good on that front. I'm trying to I remember the order of the letters a little bit, but that doesn't get me anywhere really. And it's really, honestly, so I've been fate farming in Shelani for the most part. And
it's Shelani, the Shelani name.
Yeah,
really.
It is really all of the Shelani names that I cannot say. Most of the other ones I can. I may not remember them just because I've been like moving at a mile a minute while I'm progging, like trying to get through all the MSQ and make content. But in terms of this, no. No.
Man, what's the tone? What? Sheshin Wezzy. Okay, Sheshin Wezzy's kind of easy. Is everything else out there? Nah, fam. I'd sing Lifestyle.
MS and H is how I remember them. M, S, and H. H is southeast, S is west, M is north.
See, no, we're not talking about Urkapacha or Kusama Uka. I mean, those places are fine.
Yeah, I said those names earlier. Actually,
yeah, they're reasonable. All the names in those locations are reasonable. We're talking about Shalani, and it's like they just put shit together.
Yeah, like I remember many fires.
Yeah.
That one's easy. You're good. Yeah, I can't remember most of them though. Shalani though, I made a Machinist Thoughts video and I was like, I have to do this in Texas. I need this to be as freedom inspiring as possible. I have to pull out my gun in Texas.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you haven't since you haven't seen the cutscenes yet, I won't ruin it for you.
Good, because that would be kind of messed up if you did. Thanks for telling me you won't. But what's funny about that zone is how much everyone instantly agreed to call it Texas.
Because it is.
Yeah. Like everyone instantly was like, hey, what's the name of this zone? Texas.
Texas.
That's it. That's all there is to it. It's Texas. It's Texas with an oasis. Pretty much.
Yep.
Man, there's a boss in there. I call him Toblerone. Because I'm not going to be able to say his name otherwise. Yeah, the H-Town is Houston. So one of the teleports is Houston. There we go. I need a town that begins with S and a town that begins with M now in Texas.
San Antonio.
Okay, we got San Antonio. We got Houston. I need an M town. Oh, man. Midland? I guess I'll just take
Midland's good.
Mesa. I guess that's one. All right. Mesa. Everyone says Mesa. Yeah. So we got Mesa, Houston, and San Antonio. There you go. I'll take it. That zone's been great for fate farming though. I'll say that.
Really?
That's what I've done. Yeah. I'm working on the Sugar Glider mount, which is 500 Terali bicolor gemstones, vouchers, which would be 50,000 gemstones total. It's the Weavray equivalent, which is funny because the Weavray you'd think would have come from the New World when it's a mammal jaw thing, but no, now we have the Terali one with the squirrel. So,
yep.
Yeah, they made a new voucher for it instead of using the old one, which is smart. Very smart. Mm-hmm. Now, the last two zones we can't talk about too much, even though people know about Heritage Found. That you just can't say a whole lot about it. Solution 9 too. Like Solution 9, I love Solution 9. The only thing I'll say is what I call the background music there is lo-fi beats to AFK between patches too.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing about Solution 9, venue owners. I get it. It's appealing. It really fits the bill for what a lot of you have been trying to go for within the bounds of housing or outside the bounds of housing for some of you. And some of you want to host an event there. Spider-Man rule. Everybody gets one. All y'all bitches can't be in fucking Solution 9 at the same time. Like, I don't want to see like
watch us.
I don't want to see like 10 of y'all doing events in Solution 9 like every fucking weekend. No. Everybody gets one. Like once a month, maybe. I'll give you once a month. That's it. Don't fucking use that shit all the time. Y'all are creative. Half the shit y'all do outside of like what is in Dawntrail has been creative too. So yeah, don't get all easy and try to just use Solution 9 to host your events and shit. I mean, it looks pretty. It's okay, honestly, but don't do it. Don't.
Yeah, and then Zone 6. I won't say anything about Zone 6 too much, but I will say this. I've got a small piece of advice for anyone, and just in case anyone does it, I'm actually going to do that, so it's not on screen. Mm-hmm. Did you guys know that, and this is really useful for stuff like Shadowbringers, actually. If you New Game Plus, it changes the state of zones. So like you can go back to before Alexander is there if you go back far enough to like in the hinterlands. In Shadowbringers, if you go back, you can put the light back in the sky, even though you're not on that. Just keep that in mind, especially if you're a G poser. That's a very useful piece of advice for a lot of parts of this game. Do you picking up what I'm putting down, Sly?
I am, but
yeah,
I'm still kind of like miffed about it. Miffed about like why they chose, like the devs chose to.
All right, yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm not gonna really go into detail.
You don't have to You don't have to New Game Plus Dawntrail's MSU. You just have to if you New Game Plus A Realm Reborn, it'll go back to as if you never progressed past A Realm Reborn. So, for example, I was trying out some zones to back them up by going to Heaven's Ward, for example. So, and I saw the Shadowbringer Sky during Formidable, and some other things, some other places may have the ability to do that. So, just saying. So yeah, cool game. Moving on. Oh, but dude, the music for me has been absolutely, like, I brought up the Solution 9 stuff very briefly, but I have never wanted to just get into random fights just to hear background music so much.
Yeah.
And that's what's made Fate farming a lot easier for me. I just go all the zones have fantastic music. Shaolani's got a great theme. Zone Heritage Found has a fantastic day theme. Everything. And while I won't talk about the final MSQ dungeon and what it's called, one of my favorite dungeon themes. I'll say that much at least.
Yeah.
So big ups. And it's all very distinct from a lot of the stuff we have in the rest of the game.
So, piggybacking off that, let's go right into the dungeons themselves.
Yeah. Our first real look at encounter design in Dawntrail, in the easiest instance content that we would get, mind you. And me and many of my Raider fellows have discussed the dungeons in total. And we are all very big fans.
I could tell. Outside of anyone like who does rating, and just say for the more casual crowd, from them I was getting, okay, what the fuck? Yeah, there were two camps pretty much in terms of dungeon bosses and everything. There was, man, this shit's actually gotten better. And then there's like, what the fuck? Dungeons used to be dungeons. What the fuck is this?
To be clear, I don't really think they're any harder than normal dungeons, but they're very, how do I put it? The way they communicate how to do things is very specific to each boss. So when you don't know the boss, you tend to not know the specifics unless you're someone who's got a lot of experience in the game and like has done, like, you just see certain things still as a raider and okay, that's what they wanted me to do.
Yeah.
But as a non-raider, you're someone who more casually plays, you might be like, what is that visual? I've never seen that before. That one's new. That's one specific to this boss. What does it do? Oh, I died to it. Oh, that's what, like, you kind of have to go through that brief thinking process to identify what the boss specifically is asking you to do.
Yeah, like a lot of people, what a lot of people are saying in chat. Yeah, I'll agree. Like in before, dungeons were kind of a thing you just did. It was a means to an end. You probably do, your roulettes and everything and get out the way. You autopilot it pretty much. Nah, you can't do that. Not anymore. You kind of, like a lot of people are saying, it keeps you on your toes. And I can agree with that. To a certain extent. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the big one, so I'll talk about the part I like. There is something I don't like about the new dungeons, however, coming up.
Okay.
Is that So I gotta kind of preface this. There's 2 dungeons after you finish the MSQ. This is pretty much every expansion does this. There's 2 extra expert dungeons. One of them is unlocked in Tuliyollal. One of them is unlocked in Solution 9. The only way I know how to identify this without spoiling what it is to say it's the one unlocked in Solution 9. Mm-hmm. That's the safest way I know how to describe it. The first boss of that dungeon encapsulates me having fun in this game. Absolute.
Yeah, that one was kind of fun.
Chaos.
that one was kind of fun. I'll admit. To be fair, if I had to choose between for the post MSQ dungeons, my favorite probably the one unlocked in Tuliyollal.
The dungeon or one specific boss
the
from that
dungeon. The whole dungeon itself.
Okay, no, I know why.
Yeah.
No, I know why. That dungeon is pretty great. Yeah. That dungeon's pretty great. I will say so myself. Yeah, that's definitely my favorite dungeon. It's a great dungeon in Tyrol. That's for certain. That one's very level-headed fun. There's a lot of ways to die in that one still, especially the second boss if you're a little frazzled by it.
And I will say this: there were a lot of times dungeon, like in pretty much all the dungeons, where healer died. So we had to rely on self-heals for a while. It was like, for a lot of the bosses, it was, the healer would die, the other DPS would die. So it's just me and a tank. And I'm like, bro, I cannot last off of self-heals no more. Okay, I'm dead. Good luck, tank.
Tank, that shit. You. Come on now.
Yeah, that shit happened a lot more often than ever in this expansion.
Yeah, the 95 boss, we had the healer die about 50% in, and it was literally just a test to see. Like, I had to really pull out the raider in me to make that work because he has a ton of damage to finally. It was like, spread, then stack, then raid wide, then shared multi-hit stack that goes up by 1 hit every time he does it. And I'm like, oh Christ. So I was like, okay, you take that alone. I'll step in. Okay, I'll step in. Okay, I'm not gonna get hit by this one. Okay, I've got enough health. Go, one more. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I'm sitting there like fainting, try to like minimize as much damage as possible to me because we ain't got a healer and I ain't got fucking bloodbath or second wind. So it's like, okay, what else can I do? I can maybe faint and maybe survive. Nah, fam.
No, yeah, there's definitely a few bosses where even with a warrior, which is usually your get out of jail free card, where it's not free. Yeah, it makes it certainly able to last longer, but I honestly, Paladin would have been the big savior in a lot of those cases because you actually would have wanted clemency over nascent to survive some of those without a healer. So that one was rough. And then there's also a few mechanics like the same dungeon I was talking about, but the final boss, the one with the first boss.
Yeah.
That boss had had some very boss specific tells that were not innately understood by the random people that were doing them. Essentially, there's a check fail. There's like a check pass condition, and if you fail, you instantly die, and it just requires a little bit of attention to be paid. And we all know it's a dungeon, so it just doesn't happen very often.
No. Yeah, just read the abilities. That's all we'll say. Just read the ability.
Yeah, read the ability names definitely helps.
Yeah.
I will say there's one thing they screwed up that I don't know why they did this in dungeons. So they include a lot more mini bosses now, and some of them are just awful. They're either terribly placed or are way too healthy. Specifically, the one that I think is the worst is the last trash pull of the level 99 dungeon. I'm going to tell everyone, it's a turtle. And
yeah, that bitch was healthy. Holy shit. My God.
I burned twos on it and almost got twos back for the boss. Like, and it doesn't do anything interesting. If it did some interesting stuff, I maybe wouldn't mind. But like, I'm about to just be like, yo, LB this turtle. Like, twos on the turtle. LB this turtle. Get rid of this turtle. It's worse than the boss. Like,
yeah, I remember saying for a fact, like, this shit is pretty damn healthy. Like, goddamn, we've been on this thing for like almost 5 minutes. What the hell?
Yeah. The good news is you can sleep it to interrupt its only attack. So if you see it casting its point blank, you can actually sleep or repose it so people don't have to run out and it speeds it up a little bit. So that's kind of nice. Little skill expression there. And then there's a few others. There's like a kind of micro DPS healing check in one of the expert dungeons on the last 2 trash mobs. If you don't kill them quick enough, they just start endlessly spamming AoE, and while you can stun them to interrupt it temporarily.
Yeah. I was wondering why the fuck they were doing that.
That's just if they are alive long enough, they start doing it endlessly, and it's like 10,000 damage a hit. So it's not insignificant, but it's not like significant at the. It's pay attention. There's also one. What's another? Oh, there in the final MSQ dungeon, there's an elephant that shows up right before. I think it's the first boss, and it's kind of similar to the turtle. It's just like, oh, for Christ's sakes. Especially I'm on Bard. I'm like, okay, boss is coming up. I'm on Payon. I'll get on Minuet when the boss comes, and then the elephant shows up. I'm like, just kill the elephant. I don't care. So. I think some of the I don't mind mini bosses in a dungeon. Just if you are going to make me truck through this health lord, then make it feel more engaging.
Yeah. There were a lot of times when I was like, yeah, we're getting ready for a boss. And, I'll have my whole kit ready for opener. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to burn it now. Just to get through. Please. Just let's go.
Yeah. I mean, to some capacity, maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want people to feel like they should maybe care about actually using buffs on trash, but I don't feel more engaged. I just feel like I had to use buffs to get past a really boring HP wall.
Yeah.
So that was the one blunder, I think, was that. There's another micro blunder, and this is especially prevalent in the 99 dungeon has quite a few blunders, actually. There's a lot of pulls that only have 2 or 3 mobs, and there's no good reason for that. It feels like they just forgot mobs, and that's it. It's really strange. It's like, I don't know why some of those pulls are the way that they are. But, yeah, 99 dungeon full of trash-related blunders. Bosses are cool, but the trash? Ugh. However, the themes, the bosses, the aesthetics, on point, some of the best that we've ever had. And I really hope to see that continue to be the trend, because I might actually do expert past, the start of the expansion.
Oh, I might actually do dungeons again instead of just,
hunts.
Just doing hunt trains.
Yeah. Yeah, these 48 mark hunt trains are really killing it right now. Loving that, getting my materia from that. Grabbing all my nuts. By the way, there's a new mount for 3,200 nuts. It's the turtle from the 99 dungeon. So if you hate that turtle, you can make it your bitch. Just got to feed it some nuts. Why are you shaking your head, Sly?
We go through this every expansion. I want a new hunt currency.
But do you not like this one?
No.
Why not?
Because so many random fucking jokes come out of it.
Does it drive you nuts?
It's it. There we go. Yep. There we go.
I mean, does it?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. I mean, honestly, I don't see a reason to add another currency. Like, there's just, I mean, to be fair, they've done that with a lot of
just
things.
Replace it. Just replace it.
Well, I mean, they would probably get rid of Allied and move Centurio to like the base and then nuts below that.
No. Yeah, just replace nuts. That's all I'm asking. Just replace nuts.
Honestly, that suggestion's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. They won't do that, Sly.
I know they won't.
Yeah.
I know.
So, what was the next thing? Oh, and then the EX trials. The normal mode trial's fun. Obviously, still story based. I will say one thing, at least for, I'll leave that out. Never mind. I was gonna say something about the trials, both of them that happens. I'll let that be till we do the spoiler show. Incredibly fun extreme trials. Very easy. I think as easy as like, the launch EX trials normally are, Zodiark, Hydaelyn, all that stuff in the previous expansions. The second one, a little bit of controversy because they made some very weird decisions with the second one. So the first couple of days there was a cheese strat because the wall in the EX2 is not lethal. It just gives you a dot that you can very easily heal through. And because of that, there's a mechanic where you're supposed to do it within the bounds of the arena. But if you go to the wall in the corner, you can just wait for the entire mechanic to wear off. Essentially, the debuff wears off, and then it just goes away, and you're like, "Oh, okay." So they acknowledged that wasn't intentional. They didn't want people doing that, and that they were going to fix it. Sly, how do you think they would fix that problem?
Making the wall lethal.
That's not how they're fixing the problem. The way they're fixing it is the debuff when it expires is supposed to have an effect that kills you. So they're just going to fix that and leave the wall as is, apparently. At least that's what their description of it says. It was not the problem I foresaw. I thought they were just going to fix the wall, and then that was going to be the end of it. But I guess they were okay with the wall not being lethal.
Okay.
Yeah. Very few walls that aren't lethal in this game. Like Thornton Extreme is not lethal, the wall. It does 9,999 damage a tick instead of that. It was lethal back then, but nowadays, it's not lethal.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was weird. Foregoing that, the design of both are incredibly unique, very stand out from a lot of the other ones, and an exciting premise to start with when it comes to encounter design, looking at normal and savage in the next few weeks.
Yeah, so you're looking forward to the Arcadian, huh?
Mm-hmm. Black Kato! There you go.
Yep. Even though we've seen a little bit of the Arcadian. Yeah, so this has you optimistic for what we are to see in the Arcadian. I'm just looking forward to making some money.
Yeah, well, you gotta wait till Savage for that, because you guess like another 3.5 weeks until you get to worry about that. So you're pretty far out at this point. I would love to talk more specifics about the EX trials. The first one I have no problem talking about in its entirety, but at the same time, it's a lot of just boss visuals. It's very specific boss visuals that are just more fun to learn and engage with, especially the first one where the environment is very important to everything that's happening. You have to look out of the arena, to the east, the west, to your back. So you're very rarely just engaging with the boss, which is a very pleasant experience. And just some of the mechanics, all again very simple, are again visually fun and executionally fun. Dishwasher, shut up. All right. I actually forgot I was running that. I said it when you didn't make it to the show. I totally forgot it was even running. Oh, man. Yeah, and the music, of course. Great for both of them. And then from there, we're kind of just, we're in waiting. We're leveling jobs. We're doing shared fates. There's a lot of new objective-based mounts. There's a lot of new mounts in general. Have you collectively seen all of the new mounts, or at the very least seen the what you need to do for all of them?
For some of them.
Okay.
I haven't seen all of them, but I know what you need to do for some of them. I know what they require.
Yeah. Well, which ones do you know?
For one, the bike is just money. Like that's
7.5 million gil.
7 million gil. That's just money. What was the other one? The other big one.
There's quite a few other big ones.
Yeah, go down the list. Go down the list real quick.
So we have, you mentioned the bike, that's 7.5 million gil in Solution 9. I won't buy it because it is default music, and I'm not falling for that scam. There's an MSQ one. You do get one upon completing the MSQ. There is also a mount for all 100s again this time. So Omni 100 combat jobs does come with a mount. There is the hunt mount, the Adamantoise one that I mentioned, the turtle, for 3,200 nuts. There is the sugar glider, which is the flying squirrel. That is the 500 Raleigh bicolor gemstone voucher, so 50,000 gemstones total. There is one for 100,000 orange scripts as well. That is, I believe, the bull. Yeah, 100,000 orange scripts is not bad at all. I'll even do that. If I'll do it, then come on now. That's the bull from Texas, from the Texas zone, the bull mobs.
The Runnick,
yeah, those, it's one of those, and they're specifically gathering scripts, I believe, even easier, I know, right? It's like it's really easy. I think if you did nothing but custom deliveries at max level for like 25 weeks, it's like somewhere in that range to get it, something in that, so that's not bad at all. Like that's if you did nothing else. So really, really easy. There's the series mount, which is the oppressor.
Yep.
So we have, several months for that still. We're only, 4 days into expansion launch, and that's going to be around for 19 weeks at the least. Maybe it's 20-week patch cycle. Better not be, because Thanksgiving's right around that time. And I got an ultimate to do. And I feel like I'm forgetting one. I did nuts. I did fates.
There's a gatherer one. There can't be a crafter one.
I don't think there's a crafter one. I did scripts. I did gemstones. Oh, and the fate boss. Yeah, there's a super boss mount. Yeah. So there's that one too. That's the one I was missing. Oh, and hunt achievements. Yeah. 2,000 S ranks, 1,000 A ranks. I think that's all of them for now. And then obviously we'll have one with Savage in a few weeks as well. Probably a new one with treasure maps also. We've seen the treasure map one. We know that. And the EX trial mounts, which are the wings. And I rolled a 2 on the first ones that I saw.
Woo!
I love rolling it.
Rolling deep.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, we've already seen the one that comes from the treasure maps, thankfully, from the live letter. So that one's gonna be dope. Yeah. So, a lot of long-term objectives introduced at the start. A good amount. You all right?
No, I was looking because I heard it was raining and storming earlier. I was looking to see it clear it up.
Okay. So a decent amount of objectives early on. Of course, story, EX trials, tomestones, which is really just the uncapped at the moment. But, crafters going to want them uncapped tomes at 2,000. You're going to want them gemstones at 1,500. And you're going to want to make sure to get out and about when you're trying to make that money in a few weeks. All right. Yeah. We, of course, also had the Twitch campaign for the Chocorpicer. We had the Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is redeemable starting on early access day on Friday for the Mountain Zoo.
Hamps, am I getting credit? Exclamation drops.
Where's exclamation watch time, Sly?
Exclamation watch time.
At least I have a command for exclamation mark drops.
Yeah, I had to make one.
I had one from another game that I had to update.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. Because, again, on my birthday, I was on front page. So, I'm having to say this like every 30 minutes. I'm like, hey, front page. I'm assuming a lot of y'all are here for drops. If you're on the front page, you're probably not getting them. So you need to come into the chat. And after I'd say that, hi, new here for drops. Hi. Like clockwork.
It's been a good campaign though. I'd say overall a market success over the last one in terms of community reception. I would say, at least.
Yeah.
That was a big thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the Fat Black Chocobo event because I got to participate. People who didn't felt like shit. Yeah. This one, widespread acceptance. Definitely a do it again. Definitely a do it again 14 team. Here's the thing. The biggest thing about the Twitch campaign is it's not region locked. So every region locked mount they've ever given out, they need to do a Twitch campaign. Like, get on, like, I want to see the KFC emote. I want to see what's a mount? I guess another fat black chocobo, the fat white chocobo, the cloud mount, the falcon. I think they could bring back.
We need a taco eating emote now.
Yeah, sure. We get the taco eating. Yeah, well, sure. We can get that too. I guess they could do that for just roll one out every major patch, 14 team, and we'll be peachy. We will be absolutely peachy. So there's definitely a lot of potential. I hope they're seeing the success of that collaboration and that decision. Right now it's the Butterfinger one, but also 4% EXP food, which well timed, of course.
Oh yeah.
20 times 4% EXP food is definitely not a bad thing. So a lot going on. Dawntrail overall, other than the Xbox people getting bent over and shown their own Xbox, that it's gone pretty well. You all right over there?
You just oh my God. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
Good?
Yeah.
Glad you liked that one. I don't even know what it means. I just started putting
Bent
words
over
together
and showed her own Xbox. What the hell?
I don't even know what that means, but I think
you just said it.
I just said it.
It just came out naturally.
It's New Jersey for you, man. Yeah,
man.
Yeah, they got to see the redder ring of death. I like that on YouTube. There you go. At least they can see red, assholes.
Oh God. Oh man.
Yeah, and they'll get that, of course, that time. And if it keeps taking longer past July 10th, then obviously they'll give them even more time. So the only thing that's annoying about getting bonus time, Sly, I don't know if this is something that annoys you. When they give us free time, which is very rarely, it moves your billing cycle.
Yeah, it does. It's weird. I fucking hate that.
How dare you give me free and screw up when I pay my bills? That can matter to some people.
It does. It does. Like everything's set for a reason. Like I know when my sub's about to come out and everything, yada yada yada. Like it must be weird for people with Krista. It's like, oh fuck, I gotta re-up my Krista on a new
Technically,
day
you have
now.
more time to re-up your Krista, though.
True.
So it's just one of those. It's like an OCD thing. You're like,
yeah,
you've ruined it. It was perfect. It's okay. But I think in terms of staying spoiler free, which obviously I have to again because I haven't done the story, we probably need to end discussion there. We covered the jobs, we covered the zones, we covered feeling of the music. Dude, I will say this about the music. Sly, I don't know about you, but there are certain red flags in people that they say or do things, and I instantly kind of know. I'm like, I don't know if I can like this person, right? And when somebody complains about jazz as a music genre, they're like, oh, I hate jazz. I'm like, I think this person's a sociopath. I'm not going to lie. Just instantly, like, don't get me wrong. I don't know any jazz artists. I don't listen to jazz. Like, it's not like my go-to genre. But when I hear jazz, I'm like, I think of two things. I think of Jerry Seinfeld, and I think this is really chill. That's it. So I'm just like, dude, jazz so relaxed. And then somebody's like, I don't really like jazz. And I'm like, I don't really exercise my family heritage very often, but I've never wanted to tie cinder blocks around someone's legs more than I do right now. Like I'm gonna put on a suit and we're going to the Hudson right now. All right, as far as I'm concerned. Because you're a liar. You have to be a liar.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then the music, we did we covered, the dungeons, the EX trials very briefly, just to talk about some of the stuff going on there. And then a few ancillary things like some problems and whatnot we had going on.
Yeah.
So I think we've covered the majority of things we can talk about safely without getting into any specific details. I actually deliberately kept us guestless for the show to control the urge to talk about things. The less people that have the urge to talk about something, the more likely we are.
I was accidentally spoiling something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like the less likely we are to swear. The more people we have, the more likely we are to kind of let something slip and like just are because we don't do show notes. We don't have like constant warnings not to talk about things in there. So you just have to know not to do it. So I think it worked out. I think it worked out A-okay. I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. With that, I think we can start signing off, which is especially okay because we started a little late, and I want to take some. I got raid in a couple hours, so I want to make sure to take some time and take care of some stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So, thanks everyone for joining us for State of the Realm. Apologies for those of you who had to wait the extra time, but hey, it's not our fault.
Blame Spectrum.
Yep.
I will.
He does. Yeah. So, Sly, why don't you tell everyone what you've got going on for the month of July since we're just kicking off? And we can start signing off.
Yeah, you can find me at twitch.tv/Sly, aka Gray Fox. You can find me on Twitter at Sly, aka Gray Fox, youtube.com/The Velvet Room. Now that we are actually in full swing, Dawntrail for the foreseeable future, like nothing else. SMT Saturdays will be back on Saturdays. I still got shit to do in SMT 5. The first Saturday event that got pushed back, there will be a WSOI event in July. We're just pushing it back. Just follow me on Twitter for more details. We can even pretend that it's my birthday then because it's usually my birthday event. But yeah, we can even pretend that it's my birthday then. But yeah, like I said, I just had a 40th birthday and like it was really, really fucking amazing. So thank you all to everyone who came out and just made me feel so special. Yeah, you know how back in the day, Twitch, like when you requested front page, they only allowed you like 2 hours. For some reason, them bitches had me on front page all day. They must have fucked up. Y'all fucked up. And I'm so, them bitches fucked up. And I mean, I appreciate it, but I don't know what y'all did, but y'all kept me on front page the entire day and I just ran away with it. So thank you. I met a lot of new people and, thank you so much for that. And thank you for all the well wishes, everything. I do feel old. Although I made a little mini movie on Twitter that was kind of like Sling Blade because I feel like Carl Childers. Mold and give out. But yeah. That's pretty much what's going on with me. What's going on with you, Mike?
Oh, gee, I'm just playing a little game called Dawntrail pretty much every day.
Oh, yeah, that little game. A little indie game?
Yeah, a little indie game. Yeah. You just, I'm sure most people here haven't heard of it, but, that's probably going to be on my schedule pretty much nonstop for the entire month. I'm cranking out a video or two a day, every lodestone post. I'm about to make a lodestone video on this housing lighting problem that they apologize for. Dude, every time Yoshi P makes a lodestone post, I'm like, time to milk it. Yes.
Mike, I forgot to do something.
What did you?
I said I would.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I said remind me next time to do this because like somebody came in, it always fucking happens. Somebody comes in and like, hey, why don't you Save the Realm for like the past so and so years and I didn't know you stream.
Oh, this again. All right, here we go.
So we need to do outros at the beginning of State of the Realm. Well, Sly, where can they find you? Twitch.tv/Sly, aka Great Fox.
We need to do outros at the start. Isn't that called the end?
Yeah, basically.
I believe we call those intros.
Who pays attention to the intros? Oh, no.
It's all you're literally your Twitch is linked under every single State of the Realm as well, by the way. It's literally there every single time.
Yeah.
So there's also that.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'll be doing my fate grinding for my sugar glider. I'll be getting working on every job to 100. I'm going to start the MSQ tomorrow, hopefully blitz through it and finish it by Wednesday, I'm thinking. Saturday, Sunday, Monday I'll do long because I don't have the gym that day. Tuesday I have hunt train in the morning. Oh no, I don't have weekly reset. I don't have to treat Tuesday like a Tuesday. I have to do Wonders Tales. That's about it. So probably by Tuesday I think I could probably finish MSQ. I don't really take that long.
Okay.
Yeah.
And quick question, who are you paying for your Lev kit for crafters?
I think Priz said they would make me goldsmith stuff. You couldn't give it to me anyway. What does it matter? I can't get to, like, I have to go to Dynamis to get it from you.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You'd have to go to Dynamis to give it to me. I'm
I
on
mean, see,
Dynamis right now.
I wouldn't just do goldsmith. I'd do the entire kit and the caboodle. Fuck just doing one job. I'd do
one.
everything.
I do one and then I'll do the rest with the crafting tribe. Whenever that comes out. Or custom deliveries, maybe. I just need the one so I can meld.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing the rest of the month. And I'm going to be cranking out content on YouTube between this, thoughts videos, a few guides here or there, updates on stuff. Like I said, Lodestone posts their free content right now at the moment. So
yeah,
it's being wonderful. All right. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for us for this week's episode of State of the Realm. Next week, I wanted to do spoiler cast because the following week is Raid First Impressions.
Yeah, it is.
And that should be fine because next Friday is 2 weeks after early access date, which is what everyone's supposed embargo time is.
Yeah.
Why are you making that face?
Because I'm thinking about the schedule for WSOY and it's fucked right now because I had to delay it because of early access.
Yeah, but we do our show on Fridays, not Saturdays.
No, I'm just thinking ahead of time. Because,
okay.
Yeah.
It's making sure there wasn't a conflict. Yeah.
No, there's never a conflict unless we do it on a Saturday, which we rarely do. Yeah.
And even then, WSLY is not normally at noon.
Noon. No, it's in the evening. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, with that, we're going to do a short post show, and then I'm going to take a little break. I'll be back in a couple of hours from now to do EX trials a little bit, and we'll be all good. So, thanks everyone for joining for State of the Realm. We will see you next week for Spoiler Cast. I'm going to see about getting a guest on for that show as well. Maybe 2.
I think I have one in mind. I want to recommend.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine by me. Just shoot me the recommendation and make it happen. Mm-hmm. Yep. And so thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. Until then, I bid you adieu. Bye-bye.
Take care.